Welcome in, everyone. How are we doing today? As always, I'm Connor, and this is Andrew, and today we are reviewing Monsters, Inc. We are the franchise guys. As you know, we do movie reviews of entire franchises, and today we're on the fourth movie in the Pixar Animation Studios franchise. Take it away, Andrew.
You're right.
Here's some fun
Fourth
facts.
movie, the first movie not directed by the same person who directed.
The
Man,
first three.
yeah, I had the name right on the tip of my tongue, and right as I started talking, it's just gone.
I did notice. I don't know
John
if
Rass,
what was it?
John Lasseter.
Lasseter.
Yes,
I don't know.
this is the first movie not to be directed by him.
I was gonna say I don't know if this is the first one that I noticed it on or if I just didn't notice it, but at the beginning I did notice it said Disney Animation Studios or something like that. Disney, whatever their animation studios is called.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
Before it said Pixar, and I was like, oh, I think that might be the first time I've seen that.
Both of all the other ones did as well.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yes.
Never mind.
Yes. Disney will not purchase Pixar until WALL-E. WALL-E is the first
Oh,
Disney-owned Pixar movie released.
got it. Got it.
But I will probably bring that fact up when we watch WALL-E because I like that fact because not a lot of people know that.
I did not know that, so we will hear it again then.
So, Monsters Inc.
Yes.
$115 million budget. It's a hell of a budget.
Growing.
They just keep raising it.
Yeah.
$62.5 million opening weekend with a $560.4 million worldwide, making it the 12th highest grossing Pixar movie to date.
Damn, okay.
And when it came out, the highest grossing animated feature ever made.
Okay. Nice.
This was the last Pixar movie with outtakes, sadly.
Sad. Wasn't even on Disney Plus either.
Yeah, I know. I forgot it even had outtakes until I was linked the outtakes.
Yeah.
And I remembered like half of them. The other half, especially the ones with Roz, she looks really weird in them.
I know.
Like, I don't know if it's because she's laughing and looks happy, but it just does not look natural.
Yeah, the laugh is very unnatural, I'll tell you that much for sure.
It is. It took 11 to 12 hours per frame to render out Sully.
Jesus Christ.
He had 2.3 million individually animated hair strands on him.
God.
Literally insane. Imagine 11 to 12 hours per frame.
You know how many frames were in the movie? I'd imagine it's probably insane.
No, I couldn't find that. But I mean, it's 24 per second he's on screen, so
yeah, true.
That alone is insane. In the original drafts, Boo was supposed to be 6 years old.
Oh, interesting.
And I think moving her to be a lot younger is a much better play, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, I think the actress that played her was 3, if I'm not mistaken, or 4.
Yeah. And then this one, this fact I think you'll like. News leaked early, fall of 2001, that this movie would feature a teaser trailer for Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones.
Oh, God.
Hundreds of Star Wars fans paid admission for the movie just to see the trailer. And it has been reported that a lot of them left immediately after.
Oh my God.
that was how it was back then, man. You couldn't just get on the computer
Google
and just easily watch these things. Like, they weren't released like that. It's crazy.
I mean, it makes sense. I could imagine just like a bunch of like little kids with their parents, and then a bunch of like fat dudes like wearing like Star Wars t-shirts and shit, sitting next to each other in the movie theater.
Imagine sitting down. You're a kid. We're all gonna watch this great movie, and then all these grown-ass nerds come in and they're cheering for this trailer, and then they just get up and leave, and the theater's empty.
There's like 3 little kids left in the theater.
Exactly.
That'd be great.
So what did you think of this movie? How did you like Monsters Inc?
I adore this movie as well. I as we talked about several times, I am a fan of like extended universe type films or films that give a good like explanation or at least like a show a lot of the extended universe. And I feel like in the like 5 minutes of the opening of this film, they just like explain so much about the world of monsters that these two crazy guys live in, and I find that so
Yeah.
interesting. Um, and I feel like as we'll get into the plot and stuff, I feel like there's a lot of mystery, like a lot of shrouded mystery going on throughout the entire movie. And like even when I was watching it now, I was like, what's going on here? Like there's some crazy stuff going on. Like I don't know, I was really into it this time when I was watching it.
Yeah, I love the world that they created for this movie. This movie is just amazing. I love this movie so much.
Same. Same.
This is one of the Pixar movies that I don't think I could ever get sick of. Like I've seen this
Yeah,
movie so many times,
same
and I
here.
will continue to watch this movie so many times.
Same here.
It's
100%.
just that good.
Yeah,
Um,
100%.
Before we get into the plot, let's hear about some of the deleted scenes. I know there were
First,
some interesting ones, right?
yes, there were. First, I wanted to ask you if there were any memorable outtakes that got to you. Any crazy ones that you remember?
Oh man. I really liked the ones with the intern dudes
Yeah.
who just keep messing every single scene
Yeah.
that they're in, they just keep messing up. He's like, "We're not going to make it in Hollywood, man."
Yeah.
I
Those are
love
pretty
those
great.
scenes.
Even though
Yeah,
you
those
talked
are
about
great.
the Roz ones being weird, I think I liked those ones a lot because they were just so unexpected.
Every single one was funny cuz she's like
Like, ta-da!
yeah.
It's like, dude, that's just so great.
it
Um,
it really the delivery of those were amazing too. Every single one of those hit.
I watched a thing because I was curious what the actress looked like that played Boo. I wanted to see like what she looked like, how old she was. So I watched a thing
Mhm.
that kind of talked about all the cast, and it turns out that one of the creative art directors for the film actually voices her, and it's like a guy, which I didn't expect. I don't know why I thought it was a woman, but
For
um,
who? Sorry.
for Roz, the old
Oh, yes,
crazy
yes,
lady,
yes, yes,
yeah.
yes.
Um, and watching him do the voice is just so crazy. I was like, oh my god, that's so weird.
Well, not to get into future spoiler territory, but did you know that in The Incredibles, which is the next movie that we are going to be reviewing, Brad Bird does the voice of um, the girl who does the suits. I can't remember her name off the top of
Oh,
my head.
Edna,
Edna.
Edna Mode.
He's the director and he does the voice.
Nice, that's
they
awesome.
they tried to hire somebody to do the voice, but the person they wanted to hire was like, "There's no reason to hire anybody else. Like your voice is perfect,"
That's awesome.
and they just ended up using his voice. Anyway,
Nice. Yeah.
back back to uh back to Monsters Inc. Let's hear some deleted scenes.
So, I'm not gonna play them because I think we might get copyrighted. But um, basically, let me switch over here. Basically, there was a whole sequence at the beginning that like literally would have been probably like a quarter, maybe a fifth of the entire movie that was deleted and reimagined. Um, and it was the beginning part basically. They originally wanted Sully to be like some lowly factory worker that had a dream of becoming a scarer. And so
Oh,
Mike
interesting.
and Sully were friends. Mike was still like a scaring assistant that did all the doors and stuff, but Sully was a guy that worked in the factory that basically put the screen power into the electricity system. That's what his job was.
Gotcha.
And so the first scene that would have been, I don't know if it would have been the opening necessarily, but first scene that they had that was deleted was the two of them walking into work, and they're seeing, as you can see here, they're seeing all these big important scarers that are like being massaged and like being fed food, and the two of them are just like clocking in for work. Um, and it turns out that Mike is actually uh Randall's scaring assistant. That's his job. So
Interesting.
that completely changes his and Sully's relationship 100%.
Yeah.
And Sully
And
is
the
just like,
dynamic with them and
yeah,
Randall.
exactly. Sully is just like super jealous of the whole thing, and he ends up like watching them as they work and stuff like that. And it turns out that even though he dreams of being a scaring assistant, he's actually terrified of children, completely terrified. Um, and so uh, he watches them, and then he ends up just going back down and doing his job. And then later, he's coming in. Randall is an overworker, as we see in the movie. That's still the same. He's the last one on the floor. He's telling Mike like, "Oh, go get me another door." Even though it's like 5 o'clock and they want to go home, so Mike's all upset. And then he's Randall walks away to go take a water break or whatever, and he sees Sully collecting the full tubes to go take them down to have them processed the next day. Mike leaves in a flurry, and then there's a door left there, and Mike or Sully sees the door and he goes, "Mike, you left a door," and then he goes, "Okay." Some guy, I don't remember exactly the name he said, but this person told me to just grab life by the handle and run into it, and then he tries it and he fails, and then he goes up and he presses eject into the keypad, but instead of taking the door away, it opens the door. And he's like terrified, but then he musters up the courage again and he runs into the door. And he goes and he's like super terrified. He crawls up to the bed and he sees the bed's empty. And then he hears a thudding noise on the ground. He turns around and it's Boo thudding his tail on the ground like we see in the original movie. And then he runs away all terrified. He goes to the bathroom, and well, I guess first we see after he runs away, Randall goes in the room and finds his construction helmet that he was wearing left on the floor. Um, he goes in the bathroom like we see in the film. He takes all the stuff off of him, and then Boo chases him into a corner. And then he escapes with Boo after narrowly avoiding Randall. He escapes with Boo and takes her home. And that would have been, I guess, part of the opening sequence of how he got into this crazy mess. I don't think it's
That is
nearly as good, personally.
that is crazy that they went through that much and
Right?
changed it. That it's so much
It's a
better the way
lot.
it is now.
I agree 100%.
Like
It,
that's a whole different movie, like you
literally,
said.
yeah. It's literally a completely different film. And I
That's
think it's way better
wild.
the way it
I
is
agree.
now.
I think that what we get is so much better.
Yep, 100%. There's a couple other small scenes that are related to him working in the factory that are just like little blurbs of him like working in a loud environment, and him and some guy are like trying to talk to each other and both saying what because they can't hear each other, but
Mhm.
it's just random, not important deleted scenes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was super surprised that it was that much. They got so deep into the story and then they were like, you know what, no, let's just change
Yeah.
it.
That's wild. And like
Right.
that's so much different.
Yep.
All right. Any other deleted scenes?
That was it actually. That was the I couldn't find anything besides that.
Cool. Let's get into the plot, shall we?
Let's do it.
Monsters Incorporated. It
Heck
opens
yeah.
up with, in my opinion at least, one of the best title sequences in any Disney movie I've
Oh
seen,
yeah.
and maybe one of the best in any movie ever.
Oh
I
yeah.
love this title sequence so much.
Same. The doors everywhere.
Yep. Um, and just the aesthetic of it, it's so good.
Yep.
There's a child peacefully sleeping. His closet starts to open a little bit, and don't know really what's going on. It's really dark. We see some red eyes under his bed, though, and then a monster's shadow rises across the body of the sleeping child. The child's uh the child's scream of the monster scares this monster as he bumbles all over the place. He's falling on tacks. skateboards, and then it's revealed that this monster is in a simulation. Um, we meet Mr. Waternoose, who talks about how dangerous children are and how even a single touch can kill monsters. And honestly, they can kill people too. You don't want to be
Yeah,
around
no,
kids.
don't touch kids at all, ever.
That's a very good life advice, I would say. Uh,
Just don't touch them
yeah, exactly.
in any shape or form.
The monsters use children's screams for energy, which I think is really it's really a really clever use of
Yes.
why these monsters are hiding in these kids' closets and stuff like that.
Yeah, that was that when I like started to remember the plot and everything after starting to watch it, I was like, dang, this is like a really well thought out film. That's what one of the things about the world building. It's just like their entire society is powered by just scaring children. It's awesome.
Yep. Mike wakes up Sully with an air horn like an asshole and immediately makes him work out.
Gotta do it, gotta feel the burn.
During the workout montage, Mike interrupts the workout because there's a commercial of Monsters Incorporated in it that Mike and Sully are in. And I will tell you, 100% of the time, I know what's happening. I know it's coming. I've seen it multiple times.
Same.
When Mike gets covered up by the Monsters Inc. logo, it gets me every time.
Yeah.
It's one of the best gags ever.
I know.
It's so funny. It's so simple.
Yep. And they bring it back
just
too
his
later.
glee of like, oh my god, I was on TV for like literally a quarter of a second.
Yep.
So good.
And then Sully's mom calls and he's like, "It's your mom." He's still talking about himself.
Yep. We see while they are walking to work that there is a scream shortage happening in the town of Monstropolis.
Yep.
And just this walk to work is so cool. Just seeing all these different monsters, the city that they live in. It's so awesome. I love this scene so much.
Same.
It really builds out the world and makes it feel real.
Totally real, yep.
They reach work and Mike starts talking to Celia, who they are dating. And her snakes are just the best. I love the little, like, when she's on the phone, they look really bored.
I know. I like how when she kisses him, they like smooch him too.
Yeah, and they're like giving him like a bunch of little kisses really quickly. It's so funny. Mike and Sully go into the locker room, and Randall just scares the shit out of Mike because Mike's a little pussy or something.
I love that part.
I do too. He can turn invisible. He can he's pretty much a chameleon.
Yep.
Mike calls Randall a creep once he goes away, and honestly, that's like the best word you can use to describe Randall. Randall is a creep.
100%.
Even the name, like, come on, let's be honest here. We see Roz for the first time finally.
Yep.
And she just has no time for Mike's flirty banter.
No, of course not.
He really just he tries to skate by with her, and she's just not having any of it. The monsters are ready to scare as the doors make their way to the stations. And we see all of the monsters walking in, all of the scares, and that's a really nice scene.
Very intense
all
scene.
of them. It's really cool.
And actually, I thought I was thinking about this during the movie. When we first see the actual building of Monsters Incorporated, there's like 50 of these rooms. These like triangular scare rooms.
Yeah.
And so that means that this group of like 15 guys is probably like one of 50 different groups of guys that are all scaring throughout the entire day. I love that idea.
Yeah, it's really great. Cool. This is your first kind of like look into that these scares are kind of looked at like celebrities.
Yep.
Like everybody knows who Sully was while he was walking to work. Everybody is like really focused on Sully and Randall and their scare numbers because they're close to the record.
Yep.
Imagine having two people who are almost breaking the scare record and there still being a shortage.
I know, right?
Everyone else needs to pull their shit together.
Step it up.
Like, did you see how many more like
Yeah,
their scare numbers were up? It was like
20,000 more.
200,000. Like, it was crazy. Or 20,000.
Yeah.
20,000. No, it was 200,000 because they were almost at 1 million, right?
No, they were at
Or was it
100,000.
100,000?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. So, as they're scaring, everything's going well, and then one of the monsters comes out of the door, freaking out because the child in the door wasn't scared at all.
Yeah.
Tried to touch him.
She was
so
only
they call
6.
the door dead, and then they just shred the door because the kid is. Kids just aren't being scared like they used to.
They lost 53 doors this week.
Yeah.
Which sounds like a lot until you see the millions of doors they
have. Which makes the ending a little wonky, but you know.
Yeah,
I'll suspend my disbelief for this monster
yeah,
movie.
Exactly.
Randall takes the lead for the scare numbers for like 30 seconds before just getting annihilated.
Yep.
And then one of my favorite scenes in the movie.
It's iconic. It's purely iconic.
Poor George.
I know.
Poor George.
For real.
He has a rough time in this movie.
He sure does.
He comes out of his door and there is a sock on his back and a 2319 is called, and the scare floor just goes into panic. The CDA comes and they take the sock off and they blow it up.
Yeah.
And then they shave George bare and they sanitize him, and poor George, man. I feel so bad for George.
They do a bad job at shaving too.
They sure did. They left a lot of patches.
Yeah.
But they're not barbers, you know?
Yeah.
They're just men in yellow.
True.
Water News is afraid of the company going under and will do anything to keep it from being shut down.
Foreshadow.
Which, yes. But it's weird that the only power company is going to be shut down. Like, then where are they going to get their power?
Yeah, true. Yeah. They're going to shut us down and have no power. Makes sense.
Mike mentions that he wants to take Celia to a monster truck rally, which I really, really wanted to see.
I know, that would have been great.
I really want to see their take on a monster truck rally.
Is it monsters driving trucks? Is it trucks made out of monsters?
Exactly.
We'll never know.
It's just so open to interpretation.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, in one of the Cars movies, there's a monster truck rally, and I think they animated Mike and Celia as cars. I may have dreamed that, but I think that happened.
You're right. I remember seeing that.
Yeah. Anyway.
I do remember seeing that. You are right.
Yeah.
Mike and Celia are going on a date tonight, but Roz comes up and is like, "You need to file your paperwork, motherfucker. You never do it." But Sully decides he'll do it for him. But when he goes and gets the paperwork, there's a door just hanging out, just there.
Vibing.
Yeah, just vibing, you know. He opens the door. He's looking around. He's like, he's trying to find like, what's going, who's in there, you know. Yeah. And then there are thuds behind him. He's like, "What the hell is that?" He turns around and there's a small human girl just lifting and dropping his tail. And he freaks out. He tries to throw her back into the room.
And she's an absolute ninja.
She oh my god, she's insane.
She's Jack 1.0.
100%. Randall enters the scare floor. He tries to look for her, but obviously can't find her because it is seen that Boo is still hanging on to Sully's back in the locker room. And then she for the first time calls him Kitty, which is so cute.
I know. So adorable.
He then decides, you know what, I'm going to put her into this duffel bag. And tries to return her to the room. Randall comes out of the door, though, so they have to hide. And Randall puts the door, makes the door go away.
Yep.
We are now at a sushi restaurant. with Mike and Celia. They are on their birthday date. It's Celia's birthday. Sully crashes the date.
Sure
And
does.
decides, I'm just gonna bring this human child with me into this busy restaurant, because what can go wrong?
Nothing at all.
Well, immediately she escapes the duffel bag and just terrorizes the place by just saying "boo."
Yeah, they all freak out.
And then
Love that scene.
Sully and Mike leave with Boo. The CDA arrives and decontaminates the entire area around the restaurant. And then the best news clip in movie history.
Yep.
Bar none, 100%. She picked me up with her mind powers and shook me like a dog. It's true, I saw the whole thing.
Yep. Did
the best.
Did you see right before this one there was a clip where a guy was like, a child flew through the room and blew up a car with his laser eyes.
Yes.
Remember that one? So
yes,
I saw have you heard
thing.
about that or no? Have you ever heard about the theory?
Stupid Jack Shack thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so dumb. I hate the Pixar theory. It's the worst.
I think it's funny.
Fan theories are the worst. I will go on record and saying that right now. Fan theories are stupid, and you guys need to stop.
No, please keep going. I love it.
Anyway, back at Mike and Sully's apartment, Boo is just chasing them around, just because
destroying
he thinks it's
everything,
funny and just making a mess of everything. And Mike and Sully are just frightened beyond belief. Mike takes Sully tries to give her a bear to like calm her down, and Mike takes the bear away and makes Boo cry, making the power in the apartment go insane. And then Mike makes Boo laugh, and that just blows the whole place up.
Yep.
Practically
destroys every light bulb in the building.
Yep, crazy. Mike's master plan is to use spoons to dig under the city to release Boo into the wild.
Yeah. As if they didn't just walk her there in a duffel bag or in a Chinese takeout box.
Yeah, exactly. And then Boo starts to get tired as she is drawing a picture of her and Sully together. So Sully wants her to go to bed, and Sully sets down a newspaper and just puts some like
cereal
on top of it. And Boo's like, "Nah, this is my bed now."
Sorry, bro.
Yeah, and Sully just accepts it.
Fine.
Let's see. She is afraid of her closet because obviously she's used to being terrorized by Randall. So Sully like guards the door until she's asleep. And then he starts to realize that this small innocent little child is in fact not worse than the Black Plague like they make it out to seem.
Yep.
They decide to create a cute little costume for Boo so she can fit in like a monster, so they can take her back to the office so they can put her back into her door. But when they get there, the CDA is all over the place because they found the Monsters Inc. duffel bag that Sully just stupidly left behind at the restaurant. Sully and Boo have a cute little scene in the locker room where he's like, he's waiting for her to go to the bathroom, and they start to play like hide and seek after. It's really cute.
Adorable. And again, she teleports because,
Yeah, she does. She really does teleport all over the place. Randall speaks of a machine that he wants to be ready when they find the child. He doesn't really say what it does yet. We don't know what it is, but we know it's not good because Randall's a prick.
Yep.
And then Mike says that he found her door, and he just swipes a random card.
Lies.
And he's like, "Yeah, just go ahead." And there's like
polka music.
Like, yeah, there's like this like really old timey music come through, and he's like, "Yeah, see, it's a party."
Follow the stick. Follow the stick.
And then one of the most quotable lines in the movie comes up here. Put that thing back where it came from, or so help me.
Yeah. There's a deleted
Mike.
or a thing at the end of the movie where they actually do the play. You remember seeing that?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I love
My
that.
girlfriend quotes this line all the time. It's such a good line.
It is.
Randall kind of starts to question Sully about what his thoughts are on the child situation. Like, he kind of suspects something, but he doesn't have anything to act on, so he's trying to like catch him up in something.
Yeah.
And then we see Celia. She comes with Mike, and she has her little like cone of shame on, and
Yeah.
so do all of her
Little snakes.
little snakes, and she pretty much is just she's really pissed at Mike
Naturally.
for just leaving her there.
As she should be.
Exactly, like it's her birthday, and she just had an awful night. Randall then finds out through that conversation. He looks at the newspaper clipping and sees Mike in the background of the picture with Boo. So he knows now that Mike and Sully have something to do with this. He confronts Mike and wants to put the kid back during his lunch break. Boo then jumps into a trash can while Sully is kind of distracted. But she gets out right before the trash is thrown into a compactor. Sully doesn't see that though.
Of course not.
He still thinks she's part of that trash, and essentially gets thrown in the compactor. Seems really dark.
It is.
If you really think about it, it's really dark.
I actually saw a thing that somebody edited on YouTube, and the first thing popped up was said, "This is not made for children," even though it's about Monsters Inc. And it's a video where they edited in like blood and gore to this scene, and it made it so sad because like the cube comes out and it's all covered in blood. So depressing, dude.
It's funny because I thought the same thing. I'm like, that would be so rad right now. And then after this, she meets up with a bunch of little kid monsters. And this is the first time we hear probably the cutest thing that she says, Mike Wazowski. Just the way she says it, and all the little kids say it.
I know.
Mike finds Sully, who is sulking around with the garbage cube that he thinks contains Boo.
And apparently a bunch of other kids too.
Yeah. He's like, I can still hear her. He's like, huh, I can hear her.
How many kids you got in there?
How many kids do you got in there?
So good.
And then Boo and all the monster children come around the corner and they see her. And the children just keep saying Mike Wazowski, and it's really cute. And one of them bites Mike, causing Boo to laugh, which destroys a bunch of lights, and that just makes the kids go crazy. They're freaking out and screaming.
I love that part too.
They take Boo back to her door. She obviously doesn't want to go back. And Sully doesn't want to put her back because he finds out that Randall orchestrated this whole thing of putting her back. And he doesn't trust Randall with... I mean,
I wouldn't either.
How could you?
Yeah.
Mike tries to prove it's okay. He goes into the room and jumps up on the bed. Randall then captures him, thinking it's Boo somehow, and takes him away. I don't know how he can mistake this.
He's just blind.
Giant circle, one-eyed green monster as Boo, but whatever. Sully chases Randall and sees that they're going into a secret door. Randall puts him into this machine that pretty much sucks the life out of people for energy.
Yep.
I know they call it a scream extractor.
No.
It literally just murders
It'll
people.
Kill you. Yep.
Energy.
It'll kill you.
Sully saves Mike from this right before it hits him. And replaces it with Randall's assistant. Which, by the way, do you know who voiced Randall's assistant?
We talked about this, the person that I watched this with, me and Zamai, and I don't remember the name, but we talked about who it was and why it was funny. But please tell me.
Frank Oz.
Yes, that's
who does Yoda.
Yeah. He also does there's another in the Muppets, I think he does a character as well. I don't remember who it was though, but
yes,
he plays a Muppet.
He does like a bunch of let's see, he does a bunch of Muppet characters, I think.
Yep.
I have him up right now. He does Fozzie Bear.
That's what it was.
Miss Piggy.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
an animal,
Hmm.
and then he also does Bert, Grover, and Cookie Monster on the Sesame Street.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he is
Insane.
great. Yes, he is insane.
In the best way.
I agree. Frank Oz is great. He's a treasure. Sully takes Boo to Waternoose for some reason. Waternoose is in the demonstration room, and Waternoose wants him to do the demonstration that he has been promised. So he just does it real quick, but Boo runs like directly in front of him and scares the shit out of Boo, who now doesn't want anything to do with Sully because now she sees him as a scary monster, which he is.
Yep. Sadly.
Waternoose wants to take care, in quotes, of Boo,
Yep.
and put her back
Where she belongs.
we think. But it turns out he's working with Randall, and instead of bringing down the door to put her back, it's this giant metal door, and they send Mike and Sully through it. And they end up in the Himalayas, where they meet the abominable snowman.
Yep.
After, of course, Mike and Sully fight because this is all Sully's fault, and Mike has every right to be upset.
Of course.
The abominable snowman, who makes snow cones.
Yep.
Yellow snow cones. Lemon snow cones.
Yep.
It's not what you think, though.
No.
He even says that specifically. It's not what you think.
It's not.
I think it is what I think.
I think it is too, personally.
You can't get lemons up there.
Although
Everyone knows that.
He has lingonberry jam, which maybe might have stolen it from the city or the little town down the mountain.
That is true. I guess we might be able to trust him. He seems nice enough.
Yeah, he's cool. He's a cool guy.
But like you said, he says that there is a village nearby, and Sully decides, you know what? I'm just gonna go down to that village. He goes down alone because Mike is like, fuck you, man. I'm not going with you anymore. You just make things worse.
That part kind of annoyed me because Mike wants to go back to Monstropolis, and that's where Sully's going. So logically, he should go with him, right?
Yes. I thought the exact same thing. But he's just blinded by rage.
Yeah, that's fair.
And Sully... So this is where it gets kind of like... All right. You have to suspend some disbelief.
Yeah, suspend reality entirely right here.
Yes, because it just happens that this remote village has a door that is active in Monstropolis, so he can get back.
Yep.
But whatever.
There's like 50 rooms. We talked about those 50 scare floors, and it's just
sure. But there's also millions of doors.
That's
whatever.
True. Fair enough.
We'll accept it.
Yeah, we'll just take it.
He eventually makes his way back to Monsters Inc.
Causing George to have another incident.
What was that?
Causing George to have another incident with a sock on his back.
Oh, poor George, man. I feel so bad for George. Randall and Waternoose have Boo hooked up to this machine. Sully makes it just in time to save Boo. Randall then turns invisible and they start to fight each other. Mike,
love that scene.
I don't know how he made it, but he shows up.
Yeah, he just shows up there with a snowball in his hand.
And he starts to monologue while Sully is just being
destroyed
by this invisible thing, and he's annoyed because he thinks Sully isn't paying attention to him.
Yeah.
And then he throws a snowball and misses, but he hits Randall, who then
gets
hit by Sully, and they escape. Mike and Sully bring Boo's door to the scare floor. But as Randall's right on their tails, so they eject the door, they go up, and we finally see the door holding area that we've been talking about, and it's so crazy. It's so
massive.
Cool. So massive. Let's see. They go through a bunch of different closets, trying to find they're trying to get closer to Boo's door. Which again, like, what are the chances that any of that? You gotta suspend your disbelief.
I mean, to be fair, her laugh is what ignites every door in that entire quadrant.
So that makes sense.
Yeah.
What is questionable is how every single door is on the outside part
Yeah,
of
that's true.
that, and not like
Buried in deep.
stuck in the middle or
Yeah,
somewhere.
that's totally makes sense. I agree with that.
As they're then riding on like the little roller coaster of doors, trying to get to Boo's door, Randall takes Boo away and starts to get away. Sully eventually starts to catch up. Randall is about to kill Sully by just throwing him out of a door.
Yep.
And Boo then attacks Randall with a bat.
Yep. Just beats the
Every
crap
time
out of
she
him.
hits him, he like changes
Color.
his color, and it's super funny. Sully grabs, then gets back up. He grabs
Randall.
Randall and throws him into the swamp. And the family there thinks that he's a gator and just start beating the shit out of
Yep.
him.
And it's the
And
famed.
they have the Pizza Planet
Yep.
truck.
It's the Pizza Planet truck, and that's where the Bug's life takes place. Well, some of it at
Yeah.
least.
They eventually find Boo's door, but there's no power. So Mike tries to make her laugh, but he's just being kind of a dick. So
He fails.
she doesn't laugh. But then the door starts moving while they're on it, and they reach Scarab Floor where Waternoose and the CDA are waiting for them.
He somehow knew that they were attached to the door still. Brought him in.
Of course. Yeah. Mike fakes them out by pretending that he has Boo. But really, Sully has her. Waternoose sees this and is the only person who sees this, so he follows Sully and Boo into the simulation room. Waternoose is then recorded saying he wants to kill Boo and he will kidnap as many children as he needs to.
I think he says,
then
"I'll
he's
kill
arrested.
1,000 children to keep this company afloat," or something like that.
Yes. And then he's arrested, which I didn't really understand why. I guess.
That's fair.
I don't really know. Like, none of these people, like, everyone thinks that children are
The Black
poisonous
Plague.
and deadly. So I don't really understand what monster laws he broke, but he deserved it because he's an asshole.
Yeah, that's very, very true. I mean, like, you could even say, like, what's the CDA gonna do with the kid once they get her? Are they gonna just kill her? Are they gonna try to get her back to the door? Like, what's the protocol? If they just kill her, then he's not really that much worse than her.
Exactly. It gets kind of muddled there, but again, I don't care.
Yeah, nobody cares.
Yeah, exactly. The CDA then calls number 1 to come in, and it turns out to be Roz, who is an informant who was undercover for 2.5 years.
Actually, really quick, I think I might have an answer. So I think that maybe Monsters Inc. is perpetuating that children are toxic. And so the fact that he's been lying to the entire planet about children being toxic and saying, like, oh, this whole time I've been saying they're toxic and now I'll just kidnap them and kill them for the electricity. That could be the reason why they're arresting him, because he's been lying to the entire world.
I'll accept that. I like that explanation.
We'll just say that. Yeah, Roz is CDA number 1.
Yes.
Undercover.
They say Sully has to put Boo back into her room, and then
shred the door.
Scene it sucks, man. This scene sucks. It hurts.
Upsetting.
Every single time.
Yeah. The long kid.
I guess a fun part of this is we see
so many toys.
Fun things in her toys.
So many toys.
Jessie. We see Nemo.
Yep.
Which I believe is the next Pixar movie.
No, you said Incredibles was next.
Okay, and then Nemo's after that. And then we see Luxo Jr., which is the Pixar ball.
Yep.
But man, when
that scene, oof.
When they after he leaves and shreds, and the door is shredded, and she gets up from her bed and opens the closet door and says,
"Oh,
Kitty,"
man.
and realizes that he ain't coming back. Man, that part sucks. I hate that part. It hits me real hard.
Same.
There's one piece of the door left. Mike picks it up and gives it to Sully. Sully will treasure this for the rest of his life. let's see. Mike is now in a dark bedroom, slowly coming up. Kid is falling asleep. You know what he does?
He starts to
You know what he
tell
does?
stand-up comedy.
In my notes, I put stand up in quotes because let's be honest,
Stand
he
up.
ain't trying.
No.
And it shows because the kid just has no
He's like,
reaction.
"What
He's
the
like, "What is
hell?"
this green little soccer ball doing in my room?"
That
And
burp
then he's
though.
like, "Okay, I guess I'm not funny." So he just resorts to physical comedy.
Yep.
And the kid laughs his ass off because burps are always funny.
Yeah, of course.
Then it is revealed that laughing is a new energy source that Monstropolis uses, and it is 10 times more powerful than screams.
Yep.
Sully is now the scare assistant to Mike, who is the main man now.
Yep. Comedy genius.
Yeah, he made his quota in one time in
one kid
room.
Yeah.
Crazy. They really need to up that quota.
Yeah, right.
Mike and Sully Mike and Sully are on the cover of a magazine, and again, they get me again.
I'm
Mike
on the
is
cover of a
covered by
magazine.
You can only see his little arms and his little legs, but it he's happy, and I'm happy he's happy.
Yeah, it's enough.
Sully flips through his paperwork, and in the back we see a picture, the picture that Boo made of him and her together, and then the piece of her door.
Yep.
Mike takes him away and wants to show him something. He's blindfolded. He has no idea what's happening. He takes off the blindfold, and it's Boo's
door.
That has been fully remade, but it is only missing one piece.
One piece.
Sully opens the door. We hear Kitty, and then we fade to black.
Sure do.
And that's Monsters Inc.
Man, that ending, man, every time I'm getting it right now, dude. Sheesh.
Yeah, that ending is rough. I wonder if that is where they are gonna pick up for the animated series.
I didn't know there was gonna be an animated series. Nice.
Yes, let me see. I think Monsters Inc. animated series. I think it comes out soon.
Really? Nice.
First episode, July 2nd.
Oh, geez, that is very soon.
That's next month.
Yeah, 1 month from today. Nice.
Yeah, we're gonna have Loki and Monsters at Work happening at the same time. That's
dude.
pretty sick.
I can't wait. That's gonna be great.
I agree, but Connor, now is the time.
Now is the time.
Where
Pull up the list real quick.
rank Monsters Inc. compared to the other two movies, or the other three movies, in fact, that we have done so far. So far on the list, number 3 we have Toy Story 1, number 2 A Bug's Life, and number 1 Toy Story 2. You know, I'm not even gonna fuck around here. Just throw it at number 1.
Yep, I'm not gonna even argue with you. I'm not even gonna argue with you.
That is locked in there at number 1.
Got no argument with me, buddy.
It is so not even a debate.
Nope.
I feel that, at least so far, it is the clear number 1.
Oh yeah, 100% number 1. I was gonna argue with you otherwise if you didn't think that, but I had a feeling you were going to.
Oh, absolutely. It has the heart, it has the comedy, it has the characters, it has the really interesting world.
Yep.
It is the complete movie and one of the best Pixar movies ever made. Like, this isn't we only have 4 movies, so I guess it's number 1. It's this is a high ass bar.
Yeah, that's gonna be a lot.
Next movies are gonna have to beat, and
100%.
I don't know how long it's gonna take for something to take over Monsters Inc. In my opinion, like,
yeah,
at least from my memory, there's a few, but it's gonna be hard.
Yeah, I can 100% agree with that. There's only a couple that I might consider putting it over the top, for sure, because it's like you said at the beginning of this episode. It's just something I could watch just all the time and still love it every single time because it's so good. So good.
It's one of those movies that just never gets old.
100%.
It's I think it's. I would even go to say it's a timeless classic.
Oh, easily a classic, 100%. Definitely agree. That was
So
easy.
Connor, what do we have next up?
All right, it looks like
Next
next
week,
up is Finding Nemo, I guess.
Finding
A
Nemo.
movie that I also adore. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I still have a very vivid memory of it because it was one of my go-tos when I was a kid. That and Toy
Mm.
Story. So yeah, I'm
I'm
excited.
excited for the next week. I mean, Finding Nemo and The Incredibles next week. Those are
Yes.
two heavy hitters.
Well, it looks like Finding Nemo is above The Incredibles. I didn't realize that. I thought The Incredibles was first.
I had a feeling it was, but I didn't know for sure.
Let's see.
But so when are we planning on doing that, Connor? Why don't you hit us with some dates?
Let's take a look, shall we? Pretty sure we talked about it before, but let's
We did.
just make sure that I got the right days in mind. 7th. Okay, so yeah, looks like we're gonna be doing Finding Nemo on Monday the 7th, and The Incredibles on Thursday the 10th. So like we're doing this whole time, 2 movies a week. This was the second movie this week, and then we're doing Nemo on Monday, and The Incredibles on Thursday. So that's what we're gonna be doing next week. I'm super excited for
Very.
those two.
Me too. That's a hell of a week.
Oh
The
yeah,
week after, you know,
yeah,
Cars is
pretty good.
Cars, but I'm excited for Ratatouille. I've
Yeah,
only seen that movie once.
really. Okay.
Yeah. Wally and Up. I'm really excited to rewatch those.
As an adult, I think I've seen Ratatouille the most. Only because,
Really.
yeah, only because it's been on in public so many times. When like I'm at work and stuff, they'll be playing it like at Geek Squad and stuff like that. Um,
Mm,
and my mom really likes it. So like as an adult, I've probably seen that the majority. As a kid, it would be Toy Story and Monsters Inc. And maybe The Incredibles. I watched The Incredibles a lot. But yeah, as an adult, I think Ratatouille is my most watched. So I have a good memory of that movie. All
gonna be
right.
exciting.
Yep. Can't wait for next
Thank.
week.
Yeah, me too. Thank you everybody for being here.
Yes.
Thank you everybody for watching.
Definitely. Thanks you guys again. And like we said, Monday and Thursday next week, we're gonna be doing Finding Nemo and The Incredibles. Thanks, guys. We'll see you Monday.